Are doing pretty good. Glenn and I usually like to have little things that we do during quarantine life. But tonight we're gonna do a week in review. We got a lot going on now that we're finally getting back into reality and out of quarantine or full-on quarantine. And we have some great stuff to talk about. And yeah, we're gonna get into it shortly. Just to start off a little bit about our show, and if you're just tuning in where we are and who we are, I'm a stand-up comic. This is Govs Comedy Club Radio. You can find us on Boxcast. You can find us on YouTube. I host a show every Wednesday with Bonnie Scalisi called Three's Company Radio Show. Definitely be a member of our group page, which is on my page. Definitely watch our show every Wednesday. We go over different topics. But since the pandemic, they've had different hosts go live and show just basically a slice of their life. So Glenn and I go live every Friday from 8 to 9 and just...
So why do we go live all of a sudden? Like, what started our show off? Tell me about this. This is quarantine life. So, like, this is, like, what, stage 4 quarantine life? Is that how this works?
Well, yeah, we started, I mean, Glenn needed a haircut. We got to that point. Well, first, we cooked before we did the haircut. We cut Glenn's hair.
I need to focus this. This looks a little blurry.
We baked a lasagna while simultaneously,
That's the wrong one.
Do you see us here?
Yeah, it's up.
Okay.
There we go.
Hey, Adam Fremder. Babe, I'll show you after this. Adam Fremder does some really cool 3D art. It's super trippy and funkadelic.
Well, let's put it...
we'll put it... Oh, there we go, Andrew. So we have an Instagram page. It's called calamity.jones. And so what's really cool about Instagram... for most people is that it's individual to you. Everyone has their own profile. And we actually have a collaborative page with friends all across the U.S. who contribute.
Ever expanding. We're looking for contributors. That's what we're saying to you, Andrew, is we're looking for people. You know, we obviously want consent before we repost. Because
consent is always the most important thing, number one. I think
our TV's just blurry.
No, I think it's the light does it, because I thought me and Bonnie looked a little blurry the other night.
Our lighting's too good?
Our lighting's just too good. I think it's our oars.
Now we're seeing the feed of... I think that this screen... I just think it's a difference between the screens, too. But,
we don't know.
So, either way, we were distracted by our quality. But we're trying to find people that want to collaborate with our... collective, and I don't care what pottery.
Yeah, I mean,
you finger paint, you write poetry. Give me something I can think of. And tell me that's what you do and that's what makes you happy. We want to know about it, and we want to share it with the world.
This project is larger than life. It really is. We have a great friend.
Oh, here's Lou Pratt.
Lou Pratt's welcome, Joan Kruppe Asher. Well, let's start. Lou Pratt is here. Let's start talking about the show.
Yeah.
So last night, Glenn and I, actually first time we've been out, right, babe? Like, out, right?
Yeah. This is like the stage 4 outside. Like, you're allowed to sit without a mask on. Like.
Yeah, you had to wear a mask if you were up, if you were walking around. And we were at the Comedy Club. Lou Pratt is a comedian, for those of you who don't know Lou. We went to support his comedy last night, and there were some stand-up acts. First of all, I've seen Lou only at, I've never got to see Lou perform, so I've seen him at open mics, but when you go to perform, you have your A game, and he had his fucking A game, and he had the bullet spot, which, for comedians that don't know what that means, or for people who aren't comedians, bullet spot is the host always does a couple minutes and gets the crowd warmed up. That's part of the host's job. But then the bullet spot is the first comedian to go. So that really sets the tone for how the room's gonna feel and stuff.
Then what kind of room you have? Now you're not.
Okay, you're coming. You're coming in like.
I was shifting in my chair. I had honestly, it went down the wrong pipe a little bit, and I gave a little cough, and I'm like, now everybody's like, they're talking about it at work, how, people sneeze now, and instead of saying God bless you, people are all like, oh, fuck, like, thanks a lot. Like, nobody says anything. Everyone just goes silent, like, he's got it.
Yeah, oh, God. Another one bites the dust. Hey, Bonnie. So, Lou Pratt's, we digress. Back to the show we went to last night. There were some stand-up acts. Lou Pratt did the bullet spot, so he had to set the tone of the night, and he fucking did it well. Richie Byrne, who's also been a member, been a guest on Three's Comedy Radio Show, hilarious. He does the warm-up for the Dr. Oz show. He's a good friend of Bonnie's. Hey, Bill Hansen. Who else was there that was great? Oh my God, there were a bunch of comics.
Honestly, we had a great time. We saw a lot of new good material. A lot of COVID stuff. I saw some people do some funny political humor. I also saw some tired stuff too. Like I'd like to see some new stuff out of some of these people. Like.
Yeah, I know. It's disappointing. A lot of people had their notebooks, which I know is a comfort blanket for
first time back out. But like, yeah. I just feel like how we've been treating it is like this is our time to do our pleasurable stuff because we can't go out. So we have to entertain ourselves.
Yeah, like I felt like Lou was, on his fucking A game.
It seemed like he was practicing. He was on point.
Yeah, there was no or whatever. He was on to the next joke, and he was just banging them out, and laughter, rang. And
it was a good crowd too. It really was. Yeah. Everybody was in a good mood. Like we said, this was our first time. First time out. I said to Mandy, I was like, it's like we've been out a little bit, not really, but like I talk to strangers. Like
Home Depot's like a date for us. Like, hey Nancy Weems, Saturday, it's like we go to Home Depot together. That's
I don't think we've ever been to Home Depot together.
Yes, we have. Are you kidding? I remember going to Home Depot together. You just go to Home Depot every day and don't remember me ever being there. But I've been to Home Depot with you, and it was an outing for me. Okay.
Well, during Corona, Mandy was very much stuck home.
I was quarantined, not because I was sick, but because I worked remotely, and my job actually took preemptive measures. But yeah, we had a great night. We went to support Lou. The reason that I even was going to go to the show I love Governor's Comedy Club, but I heard Taz, the residential artist, was going to be in New York. So I said, oh my God, Taz, we have to hang out. She said, you got to come see Lou's show with me. She didn't end up making it out, but she gave her friend a ticket, her sister a ticket, Andrea, who sat with us, and I felt like Andrea was an old friend. Like, honestly, we met her in the parking lot, and then she sat down. There was not, a moment of silence. We all just, ordered. There was no awkward.
It was, honestly, it was like the little room just in the tent next door.
Yeah, okay, so anyone who hasn't been to Govs yet.
I say the little room by capacity. It was what it was you were more spread out for the same amount of people.
Different layout.
Similar stage. That, very good sound system. Like I was worried when we sat down and we were far from the stage and there was a piece of glass in between us. I was like, oh God, I hope we could hear good, but they had little speakers everywhere.
Yeah, they had it set up.
It's a cool setup, and it's this is how often are we going to be in quarantine? Hopefully not. Hopefully this is
a stepping stone.
Yeah,
this is a stepping stone.
And it's this way we could say, we did stand-up comedy. We went to a show at an establishment
Yeah, they had the spit guard. Even though they were outside, they did have the splash zone spit guard, which became basically a topic of pretty much every comics act. Everyone acknowledged that they were in a plexiglass box, which is like the greenhouse effect. Basically everyone was ready to get off stage by the time they were done because they're I feel like I'm gonna fucking faint.
The one comic even was where the hell's Carla?
I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of this box.
And it's not even, he was still getting laughs. It's not like he was running off stage because he wasn't getting laughs.
He's just I gotta get out of this box.
This is done.
It's just the greenhouse effect, plexiglass. small, like, hot night. You know, it was warm. We're under a tent. Even just stepping outside the tent. But yeah, so Lou, thank you for entertaining us. For performing. That was fucking awesome. And Lou supports everything that Bonnie and I do. Bonnie and Lou have a great connection and friendship. Lou's became a friend of ours.
He supported.
Oh my God! Yeah, he's every event, every time we're here, where he's hanging.
Whenever
Lou's around whenever I'm around. So Lou's awesome. But like I said, we were doing the weekend review. So what were a couple other things we wanted to plug? We didn't talk about it last time, that we were actually on my friend Dan's show. For those of you guys that don't know, Dan Romano does a show on another network, and he invited Glenn and I to be guests.
Yeah.
That's on Thursday nights, and we had a great time.
We had a good time. So talk about
Sammy Ray.
Yeah, Sammy Ray in Las Vegas.
Yeah, so Sammy Ray in Las Vegas, they're singers, and they keep putting out music. They won't stop putting out music.
And making very high production quality music videos, and just doing cool stuff. Exactly what we're talking about with Calamity Jones, and we posted their video.
Yeah, you can find that on my page. Hey Jeff's watching. Jeff, you're gonna have to rewind, because we were literally just talking about how much fun we had last night. How Govs is awesome. But yeah,
and
Sammy.
Just the vibes were real fun because of how.
Oh yeah, and it was like family. Like Rich Reddick came over and said, "Hey," and I was like, "All right, who's your people?" Like, he's like, "All right, that's my girlfriend and everyone." And so whose tables, like, rooting for who, because it's all comics, and all our families and our friends come out to support us, which is, it's awesome. And that's why Calamity Jones we're gonna support art. Just by chance, Glenn's like, "Oh, let me take a picture of you in front of the Gov sign last night," and I go, "Oh, should I wear my mask or should I take it off?" Because I was wearing it walking in, and he goes, "No, it matches the sign. Wear it." And I had, from my friend's shop, my hometown, Cotton Caper, if you go to our page, Three's Company Radio Show -2, that's on my profile, anything we promo is on there. I'll put Sammy Ray on there also. But the Cotton Caper, super inexpensive, high quality, great clothing. They have all the masks, because Glenn got masks, because Glenn likes a funky, color.
Honestly, here, I got one right here.
Yeah, like, he got his elephant.
Ultra comfortable.
Yeah, super comfortable.
It's not even about the pattern anymore. This one is
It's about the comfort.
It's hard to even kind of fog your glasses when it fits right.
Yeah.
Like, if your glasses are foggy, you just don't have the right mask yet.
Yeah. You just haven't found the right mask. That's it, guys. And
there's plenty of fish in the sea.
Yeah, and you just haven't found the right mask yet. And Cotton Caper has the right mask. Part of Sarah's dad, who owns the business, so it's a family-owned business, which I love supporting anyways, he wanted to have, his vision was that they had something for everyone. And so, like, when you go in there for Christmas, there's candles, there's socks, there's scarves, there's dresses for ladies of all size that complement bodies of all sizes. There's jewelry that complements people of all calibers. A lot of it's like all sterling silver, but then there's also really cute, like, costume jewelry that if you just are a kid or younger or just like to buy a lot of different pieces. I'm just going on and on because I really love the fucking Cotton Caper so much. It was my first job.
And that's kind of where we were going back to is Mandy's show with Bonnie on Wednesday, Three's Company. They did Dirty Jobs this week.
Part 2, because Dirty Jobs is always a topic of conversation. By the way, guys, join in the conversation tonight.
Yeah, let's hear it. Dirty Jobs, if you didn't mention them on Wednesdays, episodes.
Yeah,
please
throw
let us hear
them
it
at
now.
us. Jobs you
But-
did to make a
And
buck
it's funny.
growing
And
up.
first jobs is funny too. It doesn't necessarily have to be a dirty one.
Yeah,
But-
just
Mandy,
hard work.
Mandy did the clothing store that we were just repping. Sarah Kay.
Yeah, her
who's
dad.
awesome and came out to support.
Oh
recent
yeah,
event of yours.
her and her husband, who got married on my mom's birthday. They were at my event, and I said she's one of my close friends, but she's like one of my best friends. If not best friend from like childhood, but the younger years.
Your first job.
First job was with her, and her
So-
dad, when he let us run the store, being, maybe 15-year-old kids, and, getting to pick the soundtrack, and we would listen to, When You're a Jet, You're a Jet. We would listen to
you get some Grease going.
No, that's not Grease. That's
I don't like musicals.
No, oh my God, why am I drawing a blank on what
West
fucking
Side Story.
Yeah, it's West Side Story, the soundtrack to West Side Story, because he had like selective CDs that we were allowed to. Her dad's a very religious man. Her dad is an awesome person. He's he's great, but there was select music that we could put on, so we had so much range. A lot of Sinatra. We listened to a lot of Sinatra when her grandma was around. Rest in power, Grandma Ruth. Grandma Ruth was like your grandma, like a tough cookie, like don't tell her what to do. Like they warned me, like when Grandma Ruth's on fucking staff, like don't fuck with her. Like she does her thing, she asks you to do something dumb, you fucking do it. Like you work for Grandma Ruth now.
That's a lot of family businesses. It's like not even like the grandmother runs it, even though she like doesn't even work most of the time. Like,
she's just like
shows
there to
up
hang
and
out.
like I'm the boss. Like I birthed the owner. Like
yeah, this shit would not be here if I were not here. So just basically fucking kiss the ring and fucking.
So, but what my first job was, right?
Well, you're gonna tell me. You're gonna make me guess because you have more than one first job.
No, what? I have one first job. I have one. The first.
All right. I know what your
job.
first job is, but I'm gonna say that you also lie and say that another thing's your first job.
All right, so go ahead.
Your first job was sweeping and ripping tickets, I think, at the Carnival Fair.
You're getting it off. But what was my other job then? Because that was my actual first job.
You always say that the paint store was your first job.
That was my first regular job. That was.
See, it's his first job.
My first job. I'm 14 years
Jane
old.
Wakely Brothers, welcome.
My first job was working at the fairgrounds. I turned 14, and I worked at the fairgrounds doing random stuff. They keep animals there all the time. I shoveled horse barns and weed whacked and did, it was a job. Honestly, me and my friend, we worked the like first couple weeks, and we literally had to follow a gang of horses as they like shit on the pavement, and we had to clean up the dew, and the business, and
hi ho.
I remember sitting down next to one of the big tents, like the really big county fair tents, and being like, what do we even want with this money type deal? Like was that just worth it?
Should I be shoveling? Am I better than
shoveling?
Am I better than shoveling shit?
And we decided that if we got we were 14 years old. If we both bought motor scooters,
it'd be worth it.
That was way worth it. And so that's what we both did. Honestly, I rode it until I had a car. Then my little brother rode it, and we broke. So
it set on fire. I think.
No, that's where I was going with this. This is the best part. Is while I had it, the chip set, the all of the controls of it died. So I just decided that I would take the battery and the motor and just have an on-off switch and just have the battery 100% to the motor all the time.
So 0 to 100.
0 to 100, and it got fast. It went way faster than whatever the chip was in it. It ran for like I said until I was 15 years old. I gave it to my little brother, and we were either home alone or like my grandmother was watching us because my parents were away. And she wasn't like, when my grandmother would watch us when we were older, she was at her house.
Yeah, it's more like watching cats, like checking in. Like
she came through and made sure the house wasn't burned down. But I remember my little brother pulls up and the thing's smoking out the bottom of it. And I come running outside and we're like, oh shit. And there's all leaves inside of it. And it caught on fire.
Like a rat's nest.
I like opened it up and all the wires were melted. I had no idea what to do. We just kind of like spread it out, I think. Like we kind of like
diffused the bomb.
Dumped it apart because I was like, "Fuck, batteries explode," because we used to do that.
I know they explode big, so let's get this fucking detonated. I actually never heard that like detailed part of it.
That batteries exploded?
No, I knew the batteries exploded, but like you and Darren like fucking defused the situation.
I'd have to ask him, but I think we were afraid to put water on it because it was electronic.
Yeah, it's like it's just gonna fucking spark at us.
And it wasn't like a lot of fire; it was more like just like electrical fire. Like
Nancy Weaves is literally dying right now.
But that was my first job, so I shoveled shit to get a motor scooter that I caught my little brother. Could have
killed my brother with.
Yeah, that
basically.
almost killed my little brother by catching on fire because I like hot wired.
Because I shoveled shit, so really.
But yeah, that was my first job.
Well, I will say that this isn't a job, but we was Poe, and my dad, my grandparents lived uphill from down the people that had all the land down had like horse stables and gave horse lessons, and people would own horses and fucking learn to ride them down there. And so my dad was like, oh, like I'm stuck with my kid for the week and I'm working and she's 14. I might have been like, I don't know, it was between the ages of like 12 and 14.
Did you get working? This is not for
money. This is we was Poe. This is so I could get to ride the horses.
But wait a second. I'm sorry. How horses work is taking care of the horse. It's like a pet. You don't get to ride you could pay and just be the city fucking guy. Like, oh, I rode a horse around the fucking thing once. No. You have to take care of the horses. You have to feed them and brush them and shovel the fucking stable.
Well, my dad made sure that he didn't pay so that I had the full experience.
But that's, I agree with you.
Thank you, Dad, for fucking
Do you shovel stables? Like,
I was fucking shoveling shit.
Yeah, see, like I said, shoveling shit equals motor scooters. And
work ethic. I mean, I have a podcast now, so maybe if I didn't shovel shit, I don't know if I'd be where I am today. I really don't.
All I know is
it's humbling.
I literally found my working papers last time we were digging through the safe. Like, I have my like.
I know, he's like 12 and a half. His mom like signed him up.
No,
like
he's
special.
14 years old. Like, what it was on my 14th birthday.
His mom's like, get in the car.
No, it wasn't even my mom. It was how much did you get paid to shovel horse dung? I worked for 2 weeks to get, I think it was a $275 motor scooter. But this was also like, what was
the 90s?
No, this was 2004 money, so like whatever that is. I don't remember where I was going with that, but like.
I don't know.
It was way worth it. Like,
I would shovel shit again. Glenn would not change his life. How much did you get paid to shovel horse dung?
That's what I just answered.
He got paid in a motor scooter.
Well, you got paid in a horse ride, so at least I could keep riding my scooter.
Yeah, I got paid in like a lesson, like one fucking lesson of horse, we cantered like once.
Cantered's like a jog, right?
Yeah, they got there and then they gallop.
I have horsemanship.
They canter and then they gallop. Like they get. Well, we were never, and people might correct me. Like I might be wrong about that. They might gallop and then they canter. No, I'm pretty sure
canter. I thought was when they like staggered. I don't really remember.
Guys, look up horse dancing. It's a real fucking thing. Just go down that rabbit hole.
You've seen the horse yoga, right? There's a guy
that's
that,
like
literally,
sexual. That's
yeah,
like,
it's
so
weird.
those guys should be locked up for sexual predators. That's animal abuse.
Lou Pratt says there's a lot to be said for shit shoveling. I think that every kid in America
should have to shovel shit at some point. You should just
No,
have.
I'm not talking kitty litter shit. I'm
not talking about
backyard.
Pomeranian.
No, I mean big livestock shit.
Talking about horse stables on a hot summer day. Shit shoveling. Okay?
But
because that's what I did as a 12-year-old.
yeah, see, like at least I was legal. I had papers to be working, and
No,
I got
was
paid.
I was
Even
grandfathered in. They
I
weren't
did-
gonna tell anybody. My
I don't
dad
know.
was family.
I don't know how old I was, but I was in the Scouts and I did horsemanship merit badge, and that I shoveled some stables for that too.
Well, yeah, because that's what you said. Like, you gotta learn to like take care of it. You gotta. I did, but that was cool. Like, don't mind me. After I ride the horse, fucking, you get to clean his hooves for him, and you brush his feet, and you get him all nice, and so he feels all nice and clean. I'm just sexualizing that it's a man.
You're the one that was just saying that the horse thing was weird.
I know, that's why I'm calling back to sexualizing.
Oh, and look at Greg. Here's Greg DeFlippo with it. I'm hung like a horse. I'm sure, Greg.
I know, Greg. I saw a picture of you actually like naked, sitting on a post, and he was hiding all of his.
Andy's like, you know a lot more about horse shit than horse walking. Yeah, I got a motor fucking scooter out of that horse shit.
Well, that's why my dad hates horses, because he says they don't have brakes. He doesn't trust it. It's not, the horse has a fucking brain. The motor does not have a brain that's gonna fucking question your authority.
Yeah, and honestly, the horses that we had at Scout Camp, they were all like donated.
Yeah, they're like
So
chill, like nice ones.
No, they were the opposite. They were.
They were
like mildly like special needs or whatever. I can't say retarded. Like they were fucked up horses.
They were
like,
free.
One kid just got thrown up. I don't remember which kid it was, but I remember that was funny as hell. He was all right. So like, we all were like, oh, the horse threw you off because like it didn't like you, like, I honestly don't remember a lot about it, but like I know the difference between the saddles, and I could tie the knots, and like I could do a lot of horse shit, but like I don't remember the fucking.
You put me in a stable, I'll shovel the shit out of that fucking stable. But that's about it when it comes to horses. Oh my God, there she is, Taz.
So we talked about going.
We already, yeah, your old news, Taz.
No, but you.
No, I'm joking. You gotta go back. We were talking about what a great time we had last night. Andrea, we met her, and honestly, cool as hell. Not a dull moment. Wasn't awkward. Like, she was walking up. I'm like, think this is you, right? She's like, yeah. Walked in, just sat down. There wasn't like, oh, well, what are you guys ordering? We're all just like, we're getting fucking burgers. Like, no one gives a fuck. Like, it was just great.
It was a good time.
She was not a heckler. She was laughing appropriately and not obnoxiously.
She was
a very good audience member. She was a stand-up audience member.
We'll have to get her out to one of your shows now. I think she said she was going to come to
I'm going to lure her.
An upcoming event.
Yeah, we'll have to lure her. Because she was only like a half hour away, and because she's in the Queens or whatever, I'm like, we're a half hour away just in the other direction. Like, I go a half hour from Long Island. You're in Queens. Take a half hour ride out to Govs.
But, yeah, so we were on dirty jobs and shit shoveling.
Yeah. Well, we worked together.
Yeah, that's... Everyone always thinks that because we worked together that we met at our job. No, we both worked at the same place because I brought Mandy a birthday cake.
It was my birthday, and there was my best friend at the time, Josie, mentor, and Jess, the other girl that I worked with, who I was also close with. And Glenn was like, I think it was cupcakes. Or was it a cake? Yeah, it doesn't matter at this point.
It was for your birthday.
But anyways, he brought it, but it wasn't store bought. He made something. He literally made me
and we lived together.
Yeah, and so my boss just sat down and saw the size of Glenn, basically, and if you're nice enough to show up to your girlfriend's job with cupcakes, you're probably gonna show up to work, like. And he knew, and my boss, I had already been working there, and my boss knew what a stand-up person I was, and he knew that I would question my boss, even though he was a son of a bitch. So I think he knew enough that I wouldn't be with someone that was, not a stand-up guy. I think he trusted me. Because he trusted me a lot. It was a small business. He had to put trust in me. But go ahead.
I think that he also knew that I went to school for environmental. Like, I understood. Yeah,
he knew we were together,
Because I don't think we said what the job was. We worked for an oil tank company. Not oil burners, not oil delivery. The tanks and oil spill remediation.
So that means, like, you need to remove the dirty oil and cut the steel tank apart in somebody's house who doesn't want you getting a drip of oil on their fucking carpet. That means one of the things that we did for him was on weekends, we had extra hours that we would pick up where we would locate tanks, and what that is people like going to sell their house or something in Nassau County, which is on Long Island. They say by law, if there's any record of a tank being on your property, you have to do something. You either have to remove it or you have to fill it with something before you could sell it.
What you're saying is that we located them, and what we would do is we'd go and verify whether or not you had a tank on the property. Because sometimes people would have had a tank, and some dude with an excavator, when they were working on the house 20 years ago, ripped it out the ground and it doesn't exist anymore.
Or they bought the house 5 years ago and it's converted to gas. They're like, I didn't even know there was a fucking oil tank. Like,
and it was also, it went all sorts of ways. Me and Mandy almost killed each other looking for a couple of them. We found a tank in a guy's living room. It was literally under the addition that he put on the house. So I cut a hole in the floor of his living room and had to, clean oil out of it. It was a dirty job. Like, of dirty jobs, it was definitely a dirty job.
I would have to, of course, they would always be under, old growth bushes, and I would have to stand at the root of the bush and use my entire body to keep the bush back while Glenn was able to fucking dig into the ground in upper Nassau County, where it's the toughest fucking bedrock. No, but it's not.
Mandy's exaggerating.
All right, it looked tough. I was not the one doing the digging. I was the one getting the heat of the person fucking digging, because all I could really do was hold the fucking bush back. And the goddamn paperwork. And
Mandy did all the paperwork and drew out the site.
And called people when I was canceling or lying to them, because we would do this on Sundays, guys. We would do 5 of them on a fucking Sunday.
And a lot of what it was though was Mandy had to wrangle the people that were sure that there was no tank on their property.
Yeah.
And they're like, that was taken out years ago, or
liars,
or even worse. So there's the liars. I'd rather that than the worrier. That was standing over his shoulder. Is that a tank? I heard the thing beep. Is that a tank? Is there a tank here? How much does that cost?
I think it's here. Is it here? What?
She her job was to talk to the people
and get them off his back.
Because I couldn't do it under pressure of some of these people. It's something that takes patience. And it's
right. Some old ladies would be like, "Oh, you're working. All right, go inside. I'll be inside." And then there's men that are like, "Oh, I'm getting an education here," and you want to talk to them. And I knew about this stuff. I could talk the talk. I fucking worked in the office. I was basically a project manager at the place. I was a project coordinator.
There was 2 employees.
Yeah, it was the boss and me. I mean the bookkeeper and
She was the boss. Who are we kidding?
No, I know. But then when Josie was no longer, when Josie stepped away, it was basically me and Lee. So once again, family-owned business. So we were up in it. I still talk to Lee, my boss, check in on him, and
I always say that he was a son of a bitch, but he really did care about us.
Oh my
God! Just how he expressed, how he got done what he wanted to get done. he was a son of a bitch about it sometimes, and I remember really hanging up the phone and just being like, I fucking hate you sometimes.
I know, I fucking...
You're making this way too hard.
Well, let's just give a funny example of, like, zero
well, you
patient...
have a joke, too, about...
two zero patient things that I wrote down about Lee was he's in his office and he has zero patients, and I hear him try to get some sort of information via like debit card, where like you have to deal with automated shit now. You don't call a number and get a person. You have to jump through hoops, and even as a 30-year-old woman, I still struggle with this. So it's like, oh, welcome, sir. We like have your phone number. Like, what's your birthday? And he's like, you know, whatever. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, sir. Like, I didn't understand that answer. And he fucking screams at the top of his lungs, and he goes, that's my birthday, you fucking idiot. It's the fucking
it was a machine.
Robot.
Yeah.
Like, it's the machine. Like, and I'm like, oh, Lord. And I'm just in there like, oh, God, he's going to come out and just ask me about some job that he knows I haven't worked on yet. Like, just to fucking blow some steam off. Like, you know, he did tell the boss after, you know, when he sold the company, he's like, you know, Mandy, he's like, the one girl will just tell me to shut up. He's like, Mandy will just look at you like she wants to stab you. Like, he's like, you just need to leave her alone. Like, you just, like, she gets to a point where she won't, like, some people, they get yelled at and they're like, oh, I want to make you happy. Like, I want to work. I am like, oh, yeah? I will not work for shit. Like, I will shut my ass down. Production shuts down. You catch more bees with fucking honey, man. Like,
so.
Oh, we just met some characters there.
Well, but no, tell your story about. So, Mandy has a story in her act about our old boss there.
Oh, well, that's called paneling, baby. When you do your act on stage on a show. But
what does that mean?
Paneling, it's like me doing a pre-recorded bit, which I
don't even understand what that means. Just tell the joke.
Well, two things. My boss used to say that that Mandy Jones sounded like a porn star's name.
Oh, I forgot about that.
There clearly wasn't an HR department in our office. And, you know, he's complaining to me one day because, you know, he pays my checks. And I'm sorry, I messed it up because I put so much pressure on him. He's complaining to me one day because he's stuck in traffic. And I'm trying to hear, because he's stuck in traffic behind a funeral procession. And I'm trying to hear him out, you know, because he signs my checks. And he's like, what, a cop dies so they shut down the whole LIE? I'm like, well, at least you're the one in traffic and not the one in the casket. It works on stage. See, it doesn't work in this. We set it up and knocked it down.
All right, so Mandy was moving on the topic.
To people that we worked with at the. What did I write?
Oh, so are you still on?
Oh, Lee! Oh my God! So one night, he was, like I said, technology was not a friend of his. He's an old school.
He had a secretary to call, to GPS navigate him around. He would be like, "I'm looking at a pizzeria."
I know. I couldn't do it with him because I didn't know north and south. So literally, Jess would be like, "All right," and Jess just grew up on Long Island, so she would just be like, "All right, there's going to be a pizza place on your left. Keep going right. Keep going right. You see the bar. All right, now you're going to take a left. You see a greenhouse. All right." She knew the fuck where he was like at all times. She's like, "You hungry? You should stop at that place. It's fucking awesome." But I don't even know fucking, me and him had no patience for each other with that shit, so we wouldn't do it. But one night, he was at home, and he's trying to probably set up a fake profile to fucking do some shit, so he's trying to make an email account, and he puts in every other fucking name is taken, and it's taken. So just to be a fucking son of a bitch, he goes, every other fucking name was taken one. every other fucking name is taken too. He literally got to the point where he actually won. He got it. Every other fucking name is taken 9. And I don't know if you go in order, if you could get those, but I don't know if it's at Hotmail or at Gmail. I won't give you that, and I honestly don't know. But that is a true fucking story of, like, this man. And we would, like, come home and talk sometimes and be like, it's a little nerve-wracking that we have all our eggs in one basket, right? Because we're working for a maniac and we're
crazy.
Both like we're up to here.
But all of the employees at Winnie were misfits. Like the men, like the field employees, we crawled in oil tanks and like had to do like my whole like the first task I remember like. They showing me to do that the helper did was pump the oil from one tank to another when you were putting a new tank in.
Yeah, you gotta empty it out.
So you had to bleed the pump off. So he had a pump set up on a cart, and he's pumping a little, just a little valve of air and oil into a bucket, smoking a cigarette, like Chief smoking a cigarette, like ash waving, guy talking
unsafely.
And I just stop him and I go, is it alright to be smoking while we're pumping oil? He's like, what? And throws a cigarette in the bucket of oil. And I was like, I flinched, flailed. And he was like this, and this was not like a chemistry type guy. He was like, yeah, no, it doesn't become fumes as easy as gasoline, and the ember of the end of a cigarette isn't hot enough to light this on fire. And I was just like mind blown because I just like ate an egg sandwich with this crazy guy and like heard a couple crazy stories about like back in the day, and then put in an oil tank and he throws a cigarette in the thing of oil. And
well, you actually, after the fact, you told me, you were like, oh yeah, tanks used to go on fire all the time. Like, I never told you that. I was like, what? He was like, oh yeah, I used to put fires out at work like all the time. I'm like, what are you talking about?
The worst one was I was taking out an above ground outdoor tank.
You with Joey?
No, by myself.
Oh.
I was by myself. I took a gas saw, which is like a big, die grinder basically, that's run by gas. And I start cutting the side off the tank because it was basically empty. So I was like, okay, I'll just cut it open and clean it. Cut a big hole.
Yeah.
Use the easy saw to do. I light this sucker up. Like,
how close was it to the house?
It was right up against the vinyl side of the house. So I take the side of the tank off.
What town does it work?
I want to say Lindenhurst.
Okay.
But I pull the side of the tank off. It's about 5 feet long, what I just cut. I pull the side of the tank off, and all of a sudden, that's like it was smoldering, and it was like the thick sludge.
Yeah.
I pull the side of the tank off. It's
an
full.
Incinerator.
It's like a garbage can fire from hell. And so I immediately run to the truck and get the fire extinguisher. And as I'm hopping out with the fire extinguisher, the Lindenhurst fire, I'm pretty sure it's Lindenhurst, fire company, coming back from another fire, literally like stops in the road and slows down. It's like, that house is nearly on fire. And then sees me like running across the lawn with the freaking fire extinguisher. And as soon as I pull the trigger on the thing, they're like, out. Like they're like they didn't see it.
They're like, he's got it. He's fucking good. He knows how to fight.
But yeah, we used to catch tanks on fire quite a bit. Never inside. I never.
You say it like it was like, yeah, we did it quite a bit, like it was for fun.
But no,
it would just happen.
It was a matter of
electric
sparks are very hot, and we definitely mostly underground tanks.
Because it's like all.
Well, no, what it is the underground tanks. The above ground tank is very dangerous for me to cut it with a gas saw. Like, I shouldn't have done that. I was being
reckless.
I was getting too much work put on my plate, and I was trying to get done quickly. So like, I was a little overzealous considering the ones in the ground in a hole would catch on fire from this. And this, it was windy. That thing went up like a motherfucker. Like, honestly, those guys, like, the look on the firefighters' faces were like, fuck, like, now I have to deal with this. Until they saw me come, like, running with the fire extinguisher, which, thank God, I had. Like, I don't know what I would have done.
Well, that's Lee. I mean, you know.
Well, but no, that's Lee. There would have been no fire extinguisher if I didn't, like, take a fire extinguisher from the house. Or from the garage.
At work, not our garage.
So,
hey, Heather. Hey, Shawnee.
So what else went on with
Fun, you are a crazy mother effer. That's why I love you, baby. Is what Robin Tavino said.
So, oh man, so the guy that threw the lit cigarette into the bucket of oil, the like classic story around. Now that I'm talking about this, baby, I'm not sure it was Kenny. It might have been this happened to Lee. But either way, the employees before I worked at our company got
hustled.
Well, approached by like a lady in like a robe, like naked. Like she wanted like a train.
She wanted sex.
And
from multiple men.
And they were all like no. Like I don't know what this lady was like.
Yeah,
they were all married. Like there was. They were all like, no, thank you. They did not even make it back. The guys all left. The job was done. They didn't even make it back to the office. And the lady called the office and was like, I'm not paying the bill that you guys left. Like, I'm going to say that you guys all raped me if you try to charge me. Because I'm pretty sure it was Kenny and Lee were there. It was 3 men was the story.
We really shouldn't be outing them like this. It was probably, honestly,
We're outing them. They didn't do anything. They did the right thing. This lady, like, came at them at the house, and they were all like, no, we're, like, married, and left. And then got threatened over it. Like, she was mad that they didn't...
Would she have never seen Forensic Files? I guess that wasn't a thing yet.
I don't know. It was weird working in people's houses. There was always like the like cat poop houses where it was just like.
Oh my God! There was a note on one of the pieces of paper that said 13 cats wear masks. And that wasn't really funny. Like today, 2020, mask wasn't really funny. Isn't really a funny word, or isn't really a word we even think much of.
Concave mask, like.
It's not even anything we think of anymore. But it said 13 cats wear masks, and Dick Whitehead, by the way, Richard Whitehead didn't go into the house. He just fucking sold the job outside or whatever. And then...
Wait, didn't he do that with all the jobs?
Probably. Yeah, basically.
Yeah, no, he was like...
He would ask... Everyone's like, he wants to talk about my fishing trips. And some guys would be like, he was the greatest guy ever. Because they just
he's a salesman. But what I'm saying is, as the installer, like, he's the type of salesman that would sell you a tank install in your basement when you didn't have a basement. Like, it was like... He would sell people stuff that was never possible. Ever.
Well, yeah, no, they were like, did you measure this at all? And what he would do is he had a cardboard tank that Lee got him that it was measured right, that he could go and put in doorways.
Yeah, but the thing is, it was just the profile one way and the length.
Yeah,
so he wasn't thinking about like 3-dimensional object making a turn anywhere or like anything. Honestly, I really fucking hated that guy. You could give him first and last name.
No, but wait.
Call him and tell him I said that. Fuck that guy.
But real quick, funny, just about the 13 cats. That house was the guy that was the like lead at the job at that time was kind of a prima donna and stuff, and he knew he was like a needed person because it was a small company. So he was just like, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. But the guy was like a reputable like musician and had like all really cool framed like had awards and stuff, and they were like, it's just a shame to see that. But Eric was like, there's no fucking way. Like, I will not. Like, he walked in and said he's like, his house needs to be condemned. Like, we're not working in here.
Well, there was like the ultra. I worked for an Asian family one time that literally laid. I was doing an install, so I wasn't even taking old oil tank out.
Yeah, just
I was bringing
a new one
in. And they had nothing in the house. They must have just moved in.
Yeah.
But they had lined perfectly cut and taped together pieces of cardboard everywhere that we would walk. And they said to me, so I didn't have to take my shoes off in their house.
Yeah, that's nice.
And like, because like, it's awkward. Like I can't be cutting steel or like, I need boots on like for OSHA. Yeah. Like, and like I understand your culture. Like I always felt very awkward about that, and I still do when I have like boots on and have to go into someone's like house that like would prefer me to take their shoes off.
I know, and I'm not even a shoes off person. And the guy that came to our house the other day, the guy from Grenada, who came to fix our stove, he was like, oh no, like I'm taking my shoes off, and all day I'm like, I'm not gonna vacuum until after the guy with his work boots comes in, like, and he's like walking around in his socks. But yeah, what was funny in Japan when I went, they like you'd go into a dressing room that was literally an inch off the floor, and like I went to walk in and the girl was like, no, like, I was like, oh, I'm sorry, and I was like, okay. They knew I had blonde hair and blue eyes. They knew I was fucking not from there.
Yeah.
I didn't really blend in. But
So what other crazy stuff happened?
We got 8 minutes. I mean, well, just one of the funny Kenny stories is just loose poopies. It's just disgusting and hilarious.
Well, you got to give the background of this.
This is just he was the guy that talked.
He was genuine is what it was. He didn't censor himself.
He was a great dad. So he spoke to his kids on his level, and he loved his kids. And I say loved because I haven't been in contact with him. He still loves his kids. He's still a great dad. But he just would get on their level and stuff, and he would always, that would be his topic of conversation because he loved his kids.
He always had stuff going on.
Yeah,
he always had something that he was, excited about. Probably just as excited as his kids were, because that was the best part about Kenny, was that he was ultra into. I don't care if you were like fucking mixing concrete. He was like, and this is how you mix concrete, right? This is how you do it. Like, I'm the best at it. Like.
One of the things that I love is when Glenn and Kenny were digging digging with shovels, not shit, but they would be digging up an oil tank. If your shovels clanked, he'd say cheers.
Yeah, like you'd be digging, like, we always kind of joked about it, that it looked funny because it was like a grave-sized hole to get to the top of the, like, I'm talking about like 7 foot long, 6-7 foot long by like 3 foot wide. So like you'd be digging and you'd end up clanging shovels together, and so he'd always say cheers.
Yeah.
And I've used that on all sorts of job sites ever since, when like you tap your tools together or run into somebody and it doesn't like, it's not like a big deal. It's cheers.
Yeah, it's just a nice little.
But back to loose poopies.
Yeah, no, he came in one day. He's like, yeah, my son.
He was late.
He's late, and he's like, yeah, my son had to go, he didn't feel well, and he's not gonna go to school. He just had loose poopies this morning, and I was like, I'd much rather you call it a stinky pile of shit than a loose poopy. Like, that's fucking disgusting.
But
fucking what's his face called it. Butt pee.
Who was that? At Windmill?
No, it wasn't at Windmill. We don't have enough time for all the shit stories at Windmill, but...
there were some... Well,
what's his face? The door opening on him. Were you there when that happened to the one guy who was shitting in the bucket in the back of the truck and the door opened on him?
Oh, well, I heard about this. This was...
And he's like, shut the door! They were like, ah!
Well, they also...
He tried to go into the post office, and everyone was like, "No, you can't take a shit here." Like,
they were like kind of buddies from working together for so long. So that shut the door, and the other guy didn't shut the door. So then the other guy, like a couple weeks later, was shitting in the back of the truck. The guy locked the door and then proceeded to drive around the block and try to knock the guy off the bucket.
Oh no!
I think that was James 2 Eric. Because James was the one that was in the truck when the door rolled up, or was it Eric?
No, I thought it was that guy who couldn't take the shit at the post office, which I would have been mad about. There's one joke who was...
You had the post... Wait a second. Every post office has to let you use the bathroom. It's like,
no, it was...
I pay taxes. That's my fucking bathroom. Like, you can tell me all you want. Like, I will homeless guy shit on the front door. Like.
So you better watch out.
Yeah. And I won't wash my hands. Like.
I won't be wearing a mask. I will be shitting on the front of post office.
Boy, you gonna take away my constitutional rights? Like,
I pay taxes, motherfucker. What else am I supposed to? It's for employees only, sir. I don't know exactly. I just know there was a lot of shitting in buckets in the back of trucks.
What it was we would work at houses that, because you were working in the yard, there was no one home.
Right. So
how awkward is it to go to the neighbor's house? Like, I'm working on your neighbor's house. Can I take a shit? Because I'm a guy. Like, the only reason I need a porcelain is because I'm taking a shit.
And I would honestly, as a female alone, like, I'd be like, no.
Oh, hell no.
I'm not like a fucking, this was a 1970s horror movie. Like, can I just use the phone? Yeah, sure, and fucking murder me.
But my mom, when we used to get truck deliveries my dad had a warehouse next to our house. She would take me and my little brother and go lock herself in the garage and let the guy go in and use the bathroom.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was
let
safe.
Him leave and go back inside the house. So, like, basically never, like, technically he could have, like, jumped her when she was, like, so, like I don't think it really was that safe.
Yeah,
but
no, she
was trying to think about it, like.
She was trying to socially distance from the murderer. The potential murder. No, but that was good.
So, Robin DeVito, anybody ever empty a cesspool? I was working at the projects in uptown Manhattan, and the cesspool was so close to the tank that they were afraid we were gonna like rupture it as we were taking the tank out. And this tank was the size of a semi truck, the oil tank.
Yeah.
Dude, no gloves, fucking pumping this thing out, like stirring the thing out, like this guy smoking a cigarette, and I just remember being like, dude, like I'll crawl in an oil tank before any of it.
Well, two things. The fucking Glade plug-in thing. We saw that in the porta potty. Just like on the top of the shit pile.
It's like the Glade, the thing that you always see in like public restrooms where it's plastic and it opens like this and has like the soap. And it has like the soap that like evaporates or whatever.
Yeah, well that, and we were like, that probably got like fucking caught in his pipes. The fucking porta potty guy was stuck.
Well, no, Mandy comes out and is like, oh, isn't it so terrible that someone dropped their nice air freshener in there? And I'm like, isn't it terrible that someone's going to have to reach into the pipe when they're sucking that shitter out at a dirty music festival?
Well, I do want to say one last thing about cesspools.
Alright.
Darren, your little brother, 6 years old, they had water that came into the ceiling, and I guess he had a thought that when they were like, oh, the cesspool's going to overflow, he thought of like water came in.
The water is a completely separate incident.
I know, but he manifested like, wait, then they started talking about the cesspool at his house almost being full, and he was like, wait a minute. So the water came in our house. If their cesspool's almost full, there's going to be shit in this house. So he literally, 6 years old, went outside and dug up their cesspool.
Yeah, he dug up the cover of the cesspool.
And like was like, Mom and Dad, like, you don't need to hire anybody. Like, located it.
No, he's like, no, it wasn't that hiring. He's like, call the truck. I will dig it. Like, I already dug it up. I already took the cover off of it. It's full of shit. Like, it's to the brim. Like, we need it to get pumped out now.
This is an emergency situation. That's our last minute, guys. We ended on laughs. I love you, baby.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you. Show. We had a really good show, guys. Thank you for hanging out.
Jones page.
Yeah, calamity.jones on Instagram.